RichLewis.86 asks, did you ever lose a street fight?
What's his name?
Rich.
Hi, Rich. I didn't, to be honest, Rich, but that wasn't because I was a great street fighter. It was just because I never picked a fight. I never looked for a fight. I was only ever challenged by people that saw me, and I was balding, I was skinny, I was articulate, and they thought that they could beat me. So I always had karma on my side. So it wasn't that I didn't lose because I was the best, because there was a lot of people around me who were much more capable than me. But I was either, with the people that were better than me that I beat, I was always first, I was always sober, and I was always very, very aware. And I was afraid, I was a very frightened person. So that made my reactions very sharp. So there were loads of people that were much more capable than me. There are many people out there much more capable than me. I didn't lose in that environment because I never went toe to toe with the people that were better than me. They respected me, I respected them. Never the twain should meet.
The Dark Side podcast asks, what's the one piece of advice you could give your younger self?
Hi Chris, looking forward to chatting to you next week. I would say, or we may have even chatted before this, depending on when this goes out. I'll start that again, Paul. Hi Chris, the piece of advice I would have given to my younger self would be lean into the sharp edges. I spent most of my early life running away from my feelings, running away from my emotions, running away from the truth. So I would say the Buddhist tenet of lean into the sharp edges. Be curious. If you've got a feeling, you don't need to cover it with medication. You don't need to cover it with sex or drink or drugs or rock and roll. Just look at the emotions, lean into them, be curious. These things that rise up, that threaten us, they have a treasure, but we won't get the treasure if we run away from them. So I would have just said to myself, Geoff, lean into the sharp edges.
Jamie Hooper 2002 asks, out of all the things you have been teaching over the last 20 years, is there anything you now believe that you got wrong?
Yeah, crikey, so many. The main thing I got wrong was that if you read Watch My Back, and I've never changed this because I wanted to keep it as it was. I used to teach that violence was a good antidote to violence. You can only beat violence with greater violence. I would never so wrong. But it's good that I was wrong, because if you read Watch My Back, it was originally 3 books, Watch My Back, Bounce and On the Door. And when I brought them into one autobiographical book, I was able to go through the whole book. At the beginning I said violence beats violence, but at the end of the book I realised from my experience that violence begets violence, that violence attracts violence. So I used to teach and believe that the only way to get rid of violence was to combat it with greater violence, and now I realise the folly of that. So that was probably, I made a lot of mistakes and said a lot of wrong things, and they were all kind of temporal truths. They were all truths that led me to where I am now. So that was the worst thing I got wrong. It's quite embarrassing, but it's good to be on the other side of it.